Hello class, we're going to go over the last piece of this list unit. And we're actually just going to do a portion of it. We're actually not going to get to the end of the Runestone chapter. I'm going to kind of skip over it here. We're going to talk about the idea of nested lists, or lists that have lists inside of them, that have a list inside of it, because a list can contain any object. They can contain strings, floating points, turtles, integers, and it can contain another list. So we're going to look at this idea of nested list. And here's one kind of application. Suppose I want to make a grade book. And within a grade book, there's an entry. And the first entry's here, next entry's here, next entry's here. And every entry is made of a list itself, which has two items in it, a name and a list of grades. So we actually see here a list that has a list inside of it that has a list inside of it. So quite a bit of nesting going on here. I have Joe's grades, Mary's grades, and Steve's grades in my book. So how did I access different pieces within it? One way is to assign another variable name to the internal list. And so suppose I wanted to, access Mary here, Mary's entry, this entire list here. So I could say person is equal to gradebook 1. And so gradebook 1, this is my 0, and this is my 1. So gradebook 1 is that entire list. And so person is referencing this entire list. So then when I say person 0, the 0 item of this red list right here is Mary. So we print out that. Now, if I want to access this, maybe I could create another variable that references this list inside, i.e. person 1, which is the item 1 of this red list here. So grades is actually this internal list. So then grades 2 is 0, 1, 2, the 96. Okay. Now, I could do it by this way, but another way is just by using an index followed by another index, followed possibly by another index. So let's look at that example. In this case here, gradebook 1. Book 1 is referencing this entire list. And then the 0 portion of the blue is Mary. So same thing as this up here, but instead of doing it kind of as two steps, I could do it within one line. Okay, let's look at the next one. So gradebook 2, that's this right here, that entire list. The 1 portion of it references that list here. This is 0, this is 1. And then, because this itself is a list, element 0 of this list is the 99. One more. Gradebook 0 is referencing that list. Then the first, or element 1 of that list is the sublist inside of that. And then element 2 of this list in red is the 56. So now, I want you to give this a try. So I'm just going to pause, and I want you to write out how you would be able to do some sort of nested list assignment. So X is equal to nested list something, bracket, bracket, bracket. Okay? Pause it for a bit. And here's the answers. First one, next one, and the final one. Oops. Okay, this was a short lesson. That's it for today. There is more in your notes, but I'm not going to cover that for this class here. This year that we're doing the remote learning, we're not going to cover the other items. It's in your reading, so do read it, of course, but you're not going to be responsible for it in a test. Okay?